and he's gonna try to teach us Gem Knights. What's up, Nine?
Yeah, so we're playing Blind Second Gem Knights. A lot of people like GGYGO and like other creators have been talking about it, but I haven't seen like many people like actually saying what the deck does, other than saying, "Oh, hand trap this, hand trap that." Like, I haven't seen that them talk about it. They kind of just like uh they kind of just gloss over it and they speak about it in depth. So we're trying to do it today. So we're playing 5 normals. I think that's a good ratio. Playing 3 Nephram. A Nephram on summon. You can add any Gem Knight card, and then as an ignition effect, it can normal a Gem Knight monster from hand. So Gem card from hand, and then when it's sent from deck or hand to grave, you send 1 card from your hand to grave, not as cost, and then special it from special it. The effect to add also triggers on special summon. So it's literally a custom card. Like that card is crazy good. The fact that it can trigger when it's sent from hand and or deck and triggers its effect to add on special summon is broken.
So this is like the best starter for the deck.
Best art is so strong.
And then we've got.
So this is Gem Armadillo. This is our second normal. It's not as good because it literally just says when it's normal summoned, add a Gem Knight monster. So it can't add the spell traps, but it also isn't once per turn, which can come up because it's like Gem Knight's known for having a lot of extra normal summons. So it often helps having.
So if this is the only card in your hand, what are you adding?
I'm adding Holocore.
Holocore, okay.
So making a Holocore send to summon, and then make Phantom Quartz, and then go from there.
Okay. And then
so it's not as strong. And then Dispersion. This is similar to Mitsurugi Ritual. You can use each effect once per turn, but only once. So you can either fuse the Gem Knight monster from extra deck, and you can use 2 or more, up to 2 monsters from deck or extra deck if they're non-rock and you have Gem Knight Fusion in graveyard. So that seems like a hard stipulation, but because Holocore will send Gem Knight Fusion from deck to grave as cost, it's quite easy to get that to the activation met. And then second effect will just add a gem monster. So often, if you just open Nephram, you can Nephram add Dispersion, and then Dispersion add Armadillo, so you can get that extra search.
Okay, and
Holocore will send, I said before, it sends Gem Knight Fusion from deck to grave as cost. And then when it's in grave, it can banish 3 Gem Knight cards, and it's including itself, then negate an activation of an effect, negate an effect, and then the monsters gain 1,000 attack.
So this is like nib protection, and it makes sure your Gem Knight Fusion is in the grave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And often people steal it, but you can easily put it back from banish and back into the grave.
Okay.
And then you got Quartz. Quartz is if your opponent controls a monster, this is the only reason why we play in this deck. In Phoenix Gem Knight, people don't play one of this card for the grave effect. Because we're going second, they're always gonna have a monster on field. You can always get the first effect to set a continuous fusion spell. And then when it's sent as grave fusion material, it can add back a Gem Knight monster from grave. So it often comes up for a card to pitch off of Nephram, or just adding back a monster to normal summon.
Okay, so this is like the best extender in the deck.
Yes, strong extender. And we're playing two targets for it. Playing 1 Brilliant Fusion. Everyone's Brilliant Fusion does. This card's stupid. I'm so glad it came back. Otherwise, that could be a lot worse.
And so the deck would be unplayable, you think, without this card?
Not unplayable, but like it'd be a lot worse because I definitely wouldn't play 3 Quartz, or I wouldn't play 3 Scatter Fusion because there's no need because you only have 1 target for it. Then playing 3 Scatter. So this is nowhere near as good as Brilliant Fusion, but it's still quite strong. So actually extender and board breaking, but because it can summon a mini, as I call it, mini detonator. Scatter Fusion can summon. Which can start popping the cards, and then it can also get your plays going by sending Nephran from deck to grave, and then you can bring it back off her effect.
So that's the main engine, and then we've got lots of non-engine, very standard.
Scatter Fusion actually is very good this format because it helps because all the other cards lose to Caesar quite hard, but because Scatter Fusion is an effect that summons a spell effect that summons a monster, Caesar can't negate it because Caesar can only negate monster effects and activations to summon a monster. And spell trap activations. So often people try to seize your Scatter Fusion. That's not a legal activation. Scatter Fusion is an effect to summon, not an activation.
It's like Primate Lordly Lord's effect to summon. They can't Caesar it.
Exactly.
And then we're playing a lot of non-engine.
Yeah, so 3 Ash. I like to play Ash because it can cut them. I think the fact they can hit everything I'd like to play more Charmies, but the more Charmies you play, often your opponent will just pass turn to you, and then you can't use cards like Sapphire Fusion or Gemini Quartz because they both require your opponent to have a monster on field. It can be a lot harder to get your engine rolling.
Hmm.
So I'd like to play Ash and Imperm for that reason. Also, Imperm against Eurodrive and those kind of cards is just so strong. And then
Right.
three
Okay.
draw,
Mhm.
just got to be done. The Mitsu Raizeel and all this dumb combo decks. Nib is just good because we're playing quite a few hand traps. We can often hold Nib Imperm to end a turn, or
Mhm.
just nib quite early to just get some bodies off and make the end board a lot weaker. Fu is there for the same reason as Nib. It helps to it doesn't stop the end board, but just make it nowhere near or just give you either more cards to beat it, or they'll just end on the half board. We can easily break. I've played Imperm because it's good going first. It's a good sixth card to draw into, and it can also be added off of talent thrust. It
Would
can
would
sometimes come up.
would you change this card to droplet in the next format, or would you keep it in perm?
I think I'd keep it Imperm. The fact that like we don't have main droplet cards to send, like we can't do all the cards in hand, and just like the fact you got a neg to send the cards in droplet doesn't really feel worth it.
Fair enough. And then we're
And then
playing.
talent thrust. So thrust could it either adds talent, Shadow Fusion, or Dispersion. Rarely I'll ever add Imperm, but it's a good to have it for that reason. And then Shadow Fusion, this is like the like one of the best cards going second. The fact you can negate a monster with Genius, but also send con you can also send Nephram from deck to trigger it. It just makes it so strong. 'Cause you get free chain blocks. Like off 1.5 cards, you can negate a monster, get a 2.8k body, and you get your whole engine going.
Hmm. So so
And
that's so that's like the spice of the deck that you're running. Something.
yeah, I think next format it's not as good though, because people won't like I don't know, Vanquish Soul, they might if they know you're playing Shadow Fusion, they just won't make rock. So I think post 2 you might have to think about those four cards.
Hmm. Okay.
And then in
And
the side for that, we're playing one dragon.
okay.
So often like against Orcust, I put in the dragon just to what's it called? Pop Babel or pop Crescendo. Because often the monsters on the field don't really do anything. So there's no point keeping Ingenious against those decks. And against VS as well, we can pop the back row that they set off of the field
Yeah.
spell.
Yes, you can like force them to use it early, the trap card.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you've got sales ban, which is so you said what would you call from sales ban? What hurts you the most?
Definitely Detonator. Literally, the best card in the deck is the continued fusion spell that uses the Detonator. So
Hmm.
definitely Detonator.
And then you also so you don't does this deck care about draw or no?
It does care about draw, but like a lot of people won't really keep because people playing like judgments or strikes in the side, they won't really keep in draw going first if they know they're going first. And I feel like the risk to reward of like just going hard just a cool draw isn't often worth it because often you can OTK through draw just by fusing from grave or by adding cards back from grave.
And I've just noticed you play Raigeki, and
Yeah.
why do you play Raigeki over something like Lightning Storm, which is very standard?
Now, like because we can't really force out a monster effect without committing to the board.
Mm.
Like normal Nephram, for example, we can't bait interaction without forcing to the board. I definitely like to play Raigeki for that reason, and also like a lot of people just don't see it coming, so it often comes up with like the surprise factor, like they're not expecting it. So against like a Mitsu Rise with End board, like once you force out the detonator to protect, you can just Raigeki them, and a lot of the interrupts are gone. Or like Live Twin, for example, which is quite a hard matchup. You can literally just offer that Raigeki because no one's ending on Desiree, they're all ending on Caesar. It would be Paradise, which is so free.
And then I see the extra deck is a lot of one-offs, except for Phantom Quartz. What do these one-offs facilitate? How important
Okay,
are
so
they?
we'll go from the start. So Construct is there as your target for Shadow Fusion. Has to
Mhm.
be played if you want to play the card. On Summon, doesn't really do much. It's just good to chain block. And then next we got Aquamarine. So Aquamarine, um, what are they called? Aquamarine, um, Topaz, Ruby, and Prismora are the targets for Master Dispersion. So Master Dispersion.
Mm-hmm.
Master Special can summon 3 non-rock gem knights from extra deck. So often you'll summon either Aquamarine, Ruby, and Topaz. Those are like the 3 I often go for. So Topaz, so let's start with Aquamarine.
Okay, start with
Let's start with
Aquamarine.
that. So Aquamarine, when sent to grave, it can bounce a card. So often we'll summon attack, we'll crash it into dead for example,
Mm-hmm.
bounce it back to hand, and then Master Special can trigger engrave since fusion monster was destroyed by battle. It's even more damage and adds to body. And then we play Prismora because it's a free pop. Prismora's the next. Yeah, Prismora. Because we have Gem Knight Fusion, like you can often banish card and then it can help destroy like high attack bodies. And then
And then
Ruby. So Ruby contribute a monster and then does piercing. So often like if you nib them, for example, the token might be like hella big, and if you can't pop it, or if you use Prismora to pop something, you can just tribute spent effect for Ruby and then be over it. We play Topaz because this card does the most damage on an empty board because it can attack twice. It technically has the highest attack stat, but it also does deal burn damage when it destroys a monster by battle. So it can help. It can help that way. And then Seraphinite. Often Seraphinite is good utility, so you can fuse into it early with cards like Scatter Fusion or with Dispersion, and gain the second normal for Nephram or Gem Armadillo. And
and
Master Diamond. So Master Diamond could come up if you force out all interaction and you know they have nothing. A lot of times you can't. Sometimes you can't kill them. So Master Diamond can banish Topaz from grave and copy its effect. So it'll be like 3k, it can attack twice and does burn. It's GG most games.
and then we've
It's quite
got Lady Rose and Lady
la- la-
Brilliant.
yeah. Lady Rose is another. So Lady Rose Diamond is basically mini detonator. So literally, during your turn, when you put it as a monster effect, quick effect, banish the gem that card, and then just destroy
And it's not once per
card.
turn.
Not once per turn.
Hmm.
It's same as only monster effect, and not during either player's turn. But we move. And then
And then
Lady Brilliant is how you summon Master Diamond, and it's just good utility. You can summon it quite easily, and you can special summon a Gem Knight, ignoring its summon conditions, and it's big attack. And then we're playing.
and then okay, ready?
Yeah.
And then
And then we play 2 Phantom Quartz. So often people will stop Phantom Quartz's effect to fuse, or just imperm it on summon, so you can't get to add. So we play 2 because we can get the effect to fuse if they negate it. So if they get the effect to search with imperm, or I don't know, kind of like drop it for example, we can make a second one quite easily, and then we can get the effect to fuse.
and you play
And
one Baguska.
This is the only card we have for going first. So often, rarely, people will send you to go first, and we should end on Baguska IP or just Baguska. And you should praise enough. And IP SP. SP can
IP.
come up just to banish monsters sometimes, just to have a way to. Often don't sign it with a link or link or fusion monster. You can just use it to banish a monster if they try to respond to you.
I see. So this deck is a mostly going second deck. I feel like test hands won't really show the abilities of the deck. You said you had a replay. Do you want to go over that and your thought
Yeah.
process? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we'll go over the best.
So here we've got a replay of you playing the deck. This is game 3, and tell me what's going on in this game, because
So, like, a big trend about this deck is people won't side properly because, like this guy, for example, I lost game 2, and he thought he's going to go second, so he put in Fua Lightning Storm. But I'm not going second because I'm playing by second deck. I sent him first. He's got 2 cards that effectively dead in hand, but our hand isn't the strongest either. We only have 1 engine push, and 2 of our cards are the same, so it's not the best hand.
so you're playing with like a four card hand.
Exactly, it's playing a 4-card hand, like it's a bit weak.
And he's got 2 of the best stars in his hand and prosperity.
Exactly, 2 star and prosperity.
Yeah. So basically, if this was game 1, he was cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's game 3. Like he didn't know about That I was buying second because I lost the dice roll over, and it's a
Hmm.
bit iffy for
So
him.
and what deck? This is Mitsurise, I believe. So the
Yeah,
best
yeah,
deck in
it's
the best
Mitsubishi.
deck in the farm.
Best second in the format.
So let's see what's going on. So he goes first. He goes bonfire. Are you ever stopping this? Do you stop it? Let's see. So you do
I get
stop
greedy.
it.
I get
Okay.
greedy. I wanted him to. So if he extended there, I kind of want that because it means I can play the game. Because it means if it ends on if he starts getting to play the game a bit, we can go for thrust and we can start getting cards to our hand. And it also means that Nib can be live. Nib could train some of the bodies. I didn't really think about normal Fua or normal like ice because often people leave with ice while going bonfire for X first, paying to draw. So I didn't think he had another four in hand. But I guess Fua that didn't make a difference.
But so now Dude has resolved, which is very big. With
Like,
the
it's a lot of people think, oh yeah, this game's done. Like he resolved Druid, got Habakiri in hand, got Prosper as well to dig for bodies. But
so he goes
yeah,
node,
literally,
add
like
node.
the nib in the hand is gonna do nothing.
I'm
Like the
surprised.
nib is literally,
I'm surprised he didn't go for sword.
yeah,
But then sword wouldn't be. No, it would be two bodies. Yeah. He goes Habakiri. So he
yeah.
goes a
I
full
was so tilted when
Mitsukobo.
I saw Habakiri. I was so
Hmm.
annoyed.
Hmm.
Yeah, he wasn't on Night Soul Serpent, which was good to see because it'd be annoying if I got another four body as well.
And he had prosp. So let's see what he
Exactly.
takes for.
I think
He
it
takes
was
for three. So he adds
yeah.
nib.
He
So
hits nib as well.
he's got everything.
Yeah, so what is this? Nib, 3 detonator, cross, Murakumo, and prayers. So I'd nib here, but just to either chase out a material. So it guarantees him to touch a material. And I know he probably chain Murakumo to get it out of my hand, but I have to get rid of material now. So I might as well.
Oh, so he doesn't chain Murakuma.
He did make
Okay.
sure Murakumo. So some people might tend to, but yeah.
Okay. So you drew Armadillo. Is that good? Is that a good draw?
Armadillo's a good draw. Armadillo's good.
Good draw. Okay. So we're facing a prayer set. We're facing three detonator pops. Oh no, so two detonator pops and a potential cross negate
Cross and nib in
and
hand.
nib in hand and a prayer to blow up your board. So we're facing a lot. We're facing a lot.
Yeah. And with four cards in hand, four in hand, because
Essentially four cards in hand. Well, essentially
even three,
three.
because
Three.
nib do nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, nib does nothing. If we got two throws, we got three cards in hand. So let's see. You got
So
normal
I'm always
Armadillo.
starting this because it can force interaction to get a thrust live. I want to hold quartz later on because it's a better starter.
You got hard hollow core. So you jump
Gen
Gen 9
Fusion.
Fusion. Oh, this is the altar. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
yeah.
I was like, what was the card? Is this? You never mentioned this in your deck profile. He's hiding stuff. Okay.
He cross negated that, which is a bit annoying because it means I
So
can't summon the body and go into quartz. So that was quite a strong cross. I didn't think he could do that.
so
But
so he played optimally. You would say he
yeah,
played.
I wasn't expecting someone to cross that, but that's quite strong because it keeps me off the body to going into phantom quartz and gets stuck in my
Okay.
hand as well.
Okay.
So obviously you're going to pop in fusion like best card in the game.
Okay. So he again played optimally. Then
Yeah.
he went thrust.
This is yeah. This Mercury doesn't do anything because I have enough cards in hand anyway. So since it dumps for cost, I can fuse from deck, which is quite strong here. Because if it didn't have a cost, it'd be hella weak. And
So-
this end here was Loki. Loki didn't do anything. I don't know why he chained this.
So
I guess he thought he could blank the fusion spell by popping the monster from field, but he knows I have one in hand anyway, so it didn't really do much.
So this is where he probably misplayed.
Yeah. So I summoned Brilliant Rose here, or Lady Rose, just so I can start popping the bodies. Because like that's a lot of defense points to get through, especially with Habakiri lowering my monster by like 700 or whatever. So I would summon this here, because it means when he does go eventually does go nib, or just start using his card effects, I can start popping monsters.
So why did the nib leave your hand? Does Nephram have the discard?
Nephrom has a discard attached to it, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, these cards are like they got a lot of text, so
Oh, he's just reading the card.
yeah, he's answered it a bit wrong. And then once per turn, normal coming up here, we can just normal it again off of
So with
Nephram.
Nephram. And Nephram, I believe, even if it leaves the field, you still get the additional normal summon.
No, it's an ignition effect. That's you're thinking of Seraphonite.
No, no, no. What I'm trying to say is, if you trigger the effect to
Oh yeah,
use
yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you will still get the normal summon even if it leaves the field.
yeah, yeah,
Once
yeah,
you've
yeah, yeah,
activated the effect, yes.
yeah, yeah. Oh, activation, yeah, yeah, that's fine. So we've already used all our cards here, so we're adding Quartz as a name. So he could nib us here. It doesn't do anything because we have Hollow Core and Grave. Hollow Core will always be live now because we're always going to keep Lady Rose on field. And Hollow Core can just
Oh right,
manage
okay.
itself from 3 spells.
So the nib does nothing because you've
Literally,
always got
always got
nib
Hollow Core and
protection.
Grave. We banished the 2 spells and we got Fusion in the field.
So now um this is very hard to interact with. It's very hard because it's in the
Literally only
grave.
Bestial Crow, yeah.
Yeah.
We should add in cards now because we have to, mate. We have enough. And yep, just negate the nib. Yeah, this guy went a bit too quick. I had interact. I could pop his cards here, and I start going for them.
So
I
was
just,
this a misplay here? You would say?
no. I popped it because it's just I had to pop something. Popping the detonator and the dual drive doesn't make a difference.
Okay. Because this decreases your attack as well.
Exactly. I knew he could protect it. It was just I had to churn through it eventually, and I can pop it here in response to it, and then pop them and then pop the Habakiri or Makrimo. So often people that are here, I've used my normal. I have 2 cards in hand. I've used both their effects here. Gemini Fusion is a crazy card. Add back from grave. I banish a monster and add back from grave.
This card is in your graveyard. You can banish whichever from your graveyard. So okay, so you're just winning.
Yeah, like often here, like I've used everything in hand and I can just fuse again. I fuse Seraphonite and then I go Quartz effect here. I add back Nephram, and because Seraphonite's a crazy card, I get extra normal. I can just normal it again. Go into the second Phantom Quartz. He didn't stop on effect. I can just fuse again.
And this is so.
Yeah,
What was this?
I kick a coin with that. That's my fault. Go pop Harikiri. We attack, crash, go effect. We bounce detonator and then summon itself. Bounce detonator's hand. Attack over 500, and then it's game on board.
So you managed to beat a whole Rise helmet to Enbot. Obviously, he was going second. He had some dead cards in hand, but that's like any game. Like people main Fuwas and people have like redundant cards, but you managed to break that board, and you managed to OTK in the same turn.
With like 3 cards in hand, well, like 3 to 4 in hand, because we drew 2 thrust, and the nib did nothing. It chased out 1 material.
So I can see this deck has a lot of potential. It's like, do you think it's fully explored? Do you think there's something left to explore? What do you think?
I don't know. I think it is fully explored, but I also think it isn't at the same time. Like, there's so many cards out there, and there's so many cards made for going second as well. That I think people could find out like new ways to make the deck a little bit better. Like, for example, Shadow Fusion. Not many people are playing Shadow Fusion, but like I think it's so crazy in this deck. The fact that you can just negate a monster and get your engine rolling. So I definitely think that there are definitely more cards out there that could be good in this deck.
Okay. And what do you think of his position in the format? Would you say this is still a rogue deck?
I don't know. I feel like it's a strong tier 2 deck. I feel like tier 1, it's not me tier 1 because the tier 1 decks are crazy. But just the fact that people aren't preparing for it, and you can often catch people out, like this guy for example. He'd Fua and Light Tournament time going first. Like, he was lost, but he didn't know because he thought it was going first, or going second. The fact that people aren't preparing against it as well quite a big of an edge.
And you're not a big advocate of the Fiendsmith version. Why does the Fiendsmith version suck?
The FIFA version is so bad. Like you lose. So the reason I like this like against the FIFA version is because you're going second. But you just pass back, and because like this deck loses to every Charmy, like it loses really hard into Prulia because you normal like 3 times and you've Holocore from hand. It loses crazy hard into Fua because a lot of the cards just summon from deck, and you can't like end on like IP. IP isn't enough. You have to like commit a lot harder to get a real interaction.
Mhm.
And then also because it's like you're going first, you're more susceptible to more hand traps. Because you're going second, people take out hand traps and put in cards like Strike and Judgment, for example. Like those cards, they trade 1 for 1, while Droll trades a lot like better into your cards. You can't add more cards from hand. You can't get like the ball rolling as well. And people often side out Droll because they don't know what the deck does that much.
Hmm.
And because going second, it has very different choke points to the going first version. So often people say, "Oh, you got a Crow, or you got a Crow Gemini Fusion, you got a Bestial um Holocore,
Holocaust. Hmm.
Holocore, and then stop Death Ram." But because we're playing like Shadow Fusion and we're playing Scatter Fusion, those don't matter that much because you always get to either a second Holocore, not second Holocore, but we can get to Holo back in grave. We can get to a second Death Ram to make Phantom Quartz. So I think people, because it's a lot less popular, people aren't prepared to deal with it and interact with it. Don't interact with it properly.
Hmm. So I wanna explore this deck a bit more. Would you ever be free to do some live games?
Bro,
Because
100%. This deck is so like fun. The fact that you just like you literally just you let your opponent play and the amount of times you just go second and kill them. I think my highest win streak on DB was like 13 games in a row, and it wasn't
13
against like
games,
bots.
bro.
Like people were like, I remember one guy was like what 1.3k rating, and like it just doesn't matter because the strength the depth is like just so strong and people aren't prepared for it. It's easy to like just roll
So you
games
could
out.
you can steal a lot of games. You can steal a lot of games from this
So
deck.
many. 'Cause people just aren't interacting it properly, or just like they see Gemini cards and think, oh yeah, I got to stop this, but it's just wrong.
Hmm. Perfect. But no, I'd love to have you. I'd love to have you along again, and I loved this little intro that you gave me, and to the people who are listening. So yeah, I think this was really good for introduction. I would love to have you back again.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Nayan. See you guys in a bit. Please subscribe, comment down below, let us know your thoughts on what Nayan did or did wrong. I'm sure he did it perfectly.